Hello, welcome to another Hidden Treasures tutorial. Today we're going to be making a Mother's Day card. Now, the cardboard you're seeing me use right now is actually from a package of goldfish. You know, the little crackers kids really like to eat. My kids really like them. And if you were to remove the outside package, you will find that there is a outer paper layer, an inside silver layer, and this little cardboard that you see right there. And I really like it because it kind of opens up and it makes a very neat card. I'm using right now a sponge that I'm dipping into white and red because I'm trying to make a different pink variation. Nice soft colors for mom. And I'm trying to make it so that it does not blend too much, that you can see all sorts of white and red and pink. Now you need to do both sides. It really helps if you wait for it to dry. If not, your paper is going to get really soggy and it's not very easy to work with. Now I am spreading the card open, and this is the front of the card, and I am doing some doodles, fairly big doodles, because I'm going to fill those doodles with some newspapers. And I know my mom likes flowers, so I am making flowers, but really feel free to make anything you like. And whenever I make flowers, I also like to make leaves. All right, so now that I have a basic idea as to what I want to do, I am going to a newspaper and drawing similar shapes that what I drew on my card. And I'm going to try and recreate the flowers and the leaves. And it takes a bit of time to do all that. It happens that this piece of the flower actually is a multi-layer flower, so that's the bottom layer, and on top of that I'm going to put another couple of petals, versus the other flower that's at the center, which is only going to be one piece of newspaper. So just to show you a couple of different ways of doing this. Now I'm just placing them at the moment. I am not gluing them. All right. Now you can see all of the little pieces of newspaper that I have cut out. I'm going to be using ink again, and as you can see, you see this golden pen there and another black pen. Those are used up, they're not working anymore. I also got another red and orange, I believe, from old markers that my kids haven't used in a while, and they totally dried out. I've cut them out and I removed the inside, which I put into water for a little bit, and then I turn them over and I squish the ink out. If you want to know how to do that, there's another video in which I show exactly the procedure on how to do it. And now I'm just painting my little newspapers with all those inks, and you can see that my finger is really black. And the reason why it's black is because the marker, the black marker, happened to spread in two as I was squishing, and so I just got ink all over my fingers. But it's a good thing that it is a semi-permanent marker. With a good hand washing, it came off. So here you see me painting with ink the one piece. And I'm just using different colors, making different shades happening. And we're going to be tracing over, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want different shades of color. I was very limited with the choice of markers that I had. I don't know that if I were to choose paint, I would have chosen those colors exactly. Now what you see me do here is I need some green, and I didn't have any green, so I'm actually using markers that do still work, and I am coloring on a glass. This is actually a frame which can be just washed out and used as a frame again. I just had that on hand, and with my brush and a little bit of water, I'm just getting the ink off the glass, and I can actually use that on paper. So you do not have to damage any markers that are working. If the marker is still working, you can use it in this way. And I'm trying to mix colors to make different green variations. The newspaper absorbs the ink quite a bit, which makes it difficult. So if you don't feel like using a newspaper, I'm showing you right now what it would look like to use this ink directly onto the card. As you can see, it will not be such a bright color, but it is kind of nice and gives a very subtle color. Another thing that you can do, because the shape of your newspaper may not fit exactly the drawing that you have done underneath, is to make some kind of shadow by painting directly on the card and adding on top of it the newspaper that you have painted. So that is another possibility. Now I am gluing those little pieces. Now it's time to put them on paper. I am using some wet glue, some PVA glue. It is really not the best. I would not recommend that because it takes a while to dry, and the edges, because it's wet, do not adhere very nicely to paper. A glue stick would be better. Now I'm using the black marker that was not working anymore, and I am using a brush and doing the outside edges. Now some of it is looking pretty nice and sharp. Other places where it's still wet from the glue, as you can see, it is seeping through like as if it was wet. It can be a nice look if you're looking for that. If you're not, make sure that your pieces dry before you do that. To dry it off, you can use a hair dryer, or you can just wait. Now I'm wetting the edges just to give this little blur area. It makes a little shadow, and I kind of like it. Because this marker is semi-permeable, I can do this. If it is a permanent marker that you're using, you might not be able to use that technique. Now I'm using the gold, and the gold is totally permanent, so I cannot make this kind of look. And I'm going over the black in some places. I'm not quite sure exactly what I want to do, so I'm just experimenting. So now I'm doing details inside of the flower. See if I like it. Do I need more black? I'm not sure. So here I'm just playing around. The good news is if I don't like the black, I can go over with the gold, and the gold is permanent in such a way that it does cover the black fairly nicely. If I don't like it, I can always go over top with the black again. So have fun. Don't stress too much when you're doing this. Really, the goal is for you to relax and experiment and have an idea as to how colors mix together. Now I am folding it to see what it's going to look like from the front and see what I'm missing or what I want. Better edges. And now I'm writing my little message. I'm using the brush and that marker. Unfortunately, some places were not fully dry, so my O for Bonne-Fête is a little bigger than I was expecting. So I'm probably going to be using some gold over that later on to make it look better. And something that you're not going to see at the end, because I decided to do that the next day when it was nicely dried out, is I did use my white pen to trace again Bonne-Fête, and it looks much better than it will in the end. So I decided that I didn't have enough leaves, that it was kind of naked. So now I am adding leaves all over the place there to surround my little flowers. And this was really fun to do, to not think about what I was doing, to not plan anything and just go for it. All right, now the inside. I like to make a little frame when I do cards. You've seen that, I've done a few cards now. It just helps make it a little bit more formal, helps you know to know where to write, because when you're going to open it, you're going to be able to see all three sides. My frame is covering the whole area, but you don't have to do it this way. Because I have flowers and leaves at the front, I want to carry the theme inside of the card. So I'm just going to put a few leaves here and there. So there is a link between the front and the inside of the card. What you're seeing me do right now is using Mod Podge. This was really wet, and that PVA glue really didn't help, and the edges were not sticking. The Mod Podge really helps because it seals it together, and this one is a gloss Mod Podge, so it will give it a very nice glossy finish. The good news is that I've got some good pens afterwards, so if I wanted to do a little touch up here and there, I could do this on top of the Mod Podge. It also really helped making it nice and strong. So right now it looks very soft and easily bendable. By the next day it was nice and stiff. And that is all for today. As you can see, it does require a little bit of work still, and in a few seconds you're gonna see the end product from up close and a little message that I wrote my mom. So here you can see I added a little bit of white with my pen, and it looks much better. And you can see how shiny the Mod Podge is making everything and how hard it is. And inside I wrote a little message for my mom. At Hidden Treasure, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. We wish you safe, and hopefully we can hear from you and eventually see you soon. Bye-bye.